Hello everyone, this is Pooka wishing everybody a happy Easter, and of course, it's a holiday, so we gotta have a themed deck for the holidays, and that's gonna be an Easter deck! So of course, Easter has many traditions, many symbols that go with it, and I would say the biggest one would be the Easter Bunny. Also, we have an Easter egg hunt that goes with it, and then there's some religious themes as well, so we're gonna tie all those in here. So, number one is going to be the Easter Bunny, Diggersby. Not the nicest looking Easter Bunny, but the best one that would give us a chance to actually win a game, so we're going to go with it. Good old Diggersby has pickup, just like Sablei's Junk Hunt. We can take 2 item cards from the discard pile and put them back into my hand. So that's pretty good. And Dig for 3 does 50, and then Flip a Coin if heads. It's an agility effect. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to Diggersby during your opponent's next turn. So not a very good Pokemon, but this is an Easter deck, not a competitive deck. So this is what we have to work with. We also have Bunnelby, of course. Diggersby evolves from Bunnelby. So we have our Easter Bunny line. That's the focus of the deck. Again, we have our Easter Egg Hunt. That means we're going to be running Chansey, the egg Pokemon. Has continuous tumble, 30 times the number of heads you get, you flip till you get tails. And then we have Blissey as well, the happiness Pokemon. Also has a big bright egg. Soft boiled, you get to flip a coin if heads, heal 30 from your active Pokemon, and then double edge, 90 and 60 to itself. Again, not a great Pokemon, but that's okay. This is what we have to work with. Now, of course, there is a religious theme here, Rebirth with Ho-Oh. Rising from the dead, rising from the ashes. So Ho-Oh seems to fit the theme as well. Once during your turn, you can flip a coin if it's in your discard pile, and if heads, we can take Ho-Oh out of the discard pile and take 3 different types of basic energy and attach them to Ho-Oh. This was basically just to fit the theme and also to give us an attacker against things like Virizion Genesect, which we would probably get destroyed by otherwise. So that's the idea with Ho-Oh. We also have one Victini. This does not really fit the theme at all, but it's a very happy Pokemon, very bright and colorful, and it helps us if we want to use Diggersby's Dig attack, since we get 2 shots to flip heads on it, and it can be very annoying. So those are the Pokemon for the deck. The trainers are going to be crazy. We want an entire feast of items to pick from, since we can pick them up with Diggersby. So we have 1 Crushing Hammer, 1 Energy Switch to use Ho-Oh's Rebirth effectively, 1 Enhanced Hammer, 3 Hypnotoxic Lasers. This is going to be the main offense of the deck, because nothing says Easter like shooting a poison laser at your opponent. We have 1 Level Ball. That's pretty standard to search for stuff. And 1 Pokemon Catcher. Again, nothing says Easter like shooting a gun at your opponent that shoots out webs, apparently. I don't know. This is what we need to do to win. Alright, so we also have a switch, just in case we need to switch, and then a Super Rod to recover our Diggersby that will inevitably be knocked out. We also have 4 Ultra Ball. That's pretty simple. Discard 2 and then search for a Pokemon. Now, since this is a holiday, we want to invite all of these supporter cards that we can. We're going to invite Bianca, Caitlyn, Cassius. I don't know why we invited him, but I guess. Cedric Juniper, Charon, we'll invite Elisa, Hooligans Jim and Cass, Hugh, yeah, we even invited Hugh, Iris, N, Professor Juniper, Shauna, and yep, we still got 2 more, Skyla, and Tierno. Now, a couple things to note, we did not invite any of the Team Plasma guys because they are evil. And same goes for the Team Flare guys, so none of those supporters. And also, Professor Juniper and Professor Sycamore can't be in the same room together, so we just invited Juniper since she was our friend first. Okay, so those are all the supporters. We just run 1 of all of them. And then we have 2 Verbank City Gym to help our lasers do enough damage. Then for a couple tools, we have 1 Hard Charm, 1 Life Dew, this is good with pickup, and Silver Mirror just in case we run into a Team Plasma deck. And then we run every type of energy except Fairy since it does not have a cool artwork yet, And apparently I've run too many cards and can't scroll all the way down. But there are 4 double colorless energy as well. So we don't actually need a specific type for this deck. So we're just going to run, what is this, 7 different types of energy. That way we can rebirth a lot easier. But yeah, that is the deck. Diggersby, Blissey, Ho-Oh, the Easter deck. Okay. So, this is going to be a silly, silly deck, but of course I did play a game with it, so let's go ahead and take a look at that right now and see the Easter deck in action. Going up against Sosa Puff, and we're going to mulligan, probably a confusing hand to see. Well, that actually could be a pretty standard deck, but oh no! What? We're up against a round deck. Oh no. Now when I mulligan and show off 2 Diggersby, that should be pretty confusing for my opponent. But we're going to open up with a Chansey. Not the greatest starter, but we could use Continuous Tumble. That could get the job done. I don't know. We do see Jigglypuff starting off with a Meloetta EX on the bench as well. It looks like this is a round deck that also runs Wigglytuff, not just Seismitoad. Not really sure if Wigglytuff is necessary anymore, but hey, it doesn't hurt to have more round Pokemon, I suppose. Alright, so my opponent just plays an energy and passes the turn. I'm going to go for a Hypnotoxic Laser, since that's going to make me need only 2 heads for Continuous Tackle instead, or Continuous Tumble instead of 3. And we'll play that Shauna there to get a fresh 5 cards and bench a Bunnelby. I could Ultra Ball here to get a Victini, but I'm not really sure if I want to discard any of those cards quite yet. Continuous Tumble. Oh, baby. We got 3 heads. Happy Easter, Chansey. Jigglypuff goes down. We take down a Jigglypuff. Turn 1 with Continuous Tumble. 3 heads. Oh, man. Oh, wow. This can only happen on the holidays. And my opponent concedes the game. Oh, wow. That is the power of Easter. Turn 2, my opponent concedes to a Continuous Tumble. So we don't see that very often or ever. Alrighty. So, now obviously the Easter deck is overpowered, but we're going to play another game with this. We're not going to leave it on that note. So we're going to play another game here. Hopefully we can get a better one this time, that instead of just a turn 2 victory. But I don't know, the deck is so powerful that maybe all we can do is win turn 2. Maybe the deck is just that strong between Chansey and Diggersby. I mean, what's going to survive the wrath of these Pokemon? So my opponent starts off with a Mr. Mime going first. Not really sure what kind of a deck this is. We do see a Verbank City Gym, though. See if there's anything else, and no. My opponent passes the turn. Well, that's going to make me change my strategy here. I just see a Mr. Mime, no supporters, no other Pokemon, so I am going to Skyla right for that Hypnotoxic Laser. And we'll just poison that Mr. Mime and say, hey, if you don't have anything, I'm going to win turn 2 again somehow. So will my opponent have another Pokemon here or some way to get out of the poison and prevent the turn 2 loss from Hypnotoxic Laser and Bunnelby? What's going to happen? And are you kidding me? 2 turn 2 wins for the Easter deck. It is unstoppable, folks. What can stand in the way of Bunnelby and Chansey? I don't know. But we're 2-0, and alright, we're going to play one more game. Let's try one more time to try to get a game. Hopefully this actually lasts longer than 2 turns. This has been really silly. Alright. So, oh, okay, that's a Lugia EX. I don't think I can even knock that out in 2 turns. So this is going to be a little bit different. My hand is not so great. I do have a Caitlyn, which I may play and just try to draw as many cards as possible. We take as many cards from my hand as I want and put them on the bottom of my deck, and then draw that many cards. So I'm going to get rid of all 4 except the double colorless energy. Seems like the way to go. Got a Chansey and a Victini. I'm just going to attach to the active. We'll bench the Victini as well and pass the turn. Now this does not look like a good matchup at all, and my hand is just abysmal. but we do have that Silver Mirror just in case we run into one of these Team Plasma decks. So, I don't know, maybe we can pull something off here. It's going to be tough, though. So we see a Prism Energy go out of the Deoxys and a Colress for 4 cards. Okay, a Float Stone is on the Lugia. My opponent only has 4 cards to work with, so hey, he's got a pass. All right. We don't have anything. So I'm going to dig with Bunnelby. And all right, we got tails. We need heads to survive here. Victini allows us to reflip with Victory Star, and there is a heads, so Bunnelby is immune to all effects of attacks, including damage. And Bunnelby will live on and hold down the fort for a little bit. These little Bunnelby and Chansey are, I mean, they are holding down the fort. They are champions. I mean, they got a couple turn 2 wins under their belt, and now they're standing up against the mighty Lugia EX and Deoxys EX. Only doing 10 damage, but we are standing tall. Bunnelby, Chansey, and Victini. Alright, so my opponent decides to attach a Plasma Energy to the other Deoxys EX. Not really sure why he did that, but my hand, again, is pretty much dead. It has nothing. We're going to dig again. Tails, we need to reflip. And alright, Victini saves the day again. Bunnelby, 10 at a time. We're going to dig our way to victory. My opponent says it's just like seeing our dear friend Vanillux. It's not quite as good as Vanillux was, but that was a deck a couple years ago with Double Freeze. If you got 1 or 2 heads, you would paralyze your opponent. There's also a deck that revolved around Vanillux and Unpheasant, which had Fly, basically the same thing as Dig. But we do see another Colress for 5. I would say this deck is a lot worse than the Vanillux deck, considering I'm using Dig for 10. And I only get 1 flip and then a reflip instead of Vanillux's, 4 flips it would have to double freeze an opponent. Anyway, my opponent grabs a Kyurem, which is actually pretty bad for me because Frost Spear can hit my bench even when I'm digging. So that's not good. I don't have any options. I could have run Jirachi EX in this deck, but I didn't really think it fit the theme, but then again, Victini didn't fit the theme, so I don't know. I probably just should have put Jirachi EX in this deck, but whatever. We're gonna dig, and we got another heads, so Bunnelby lives on again. In the face of these Team Plasma Pokemon, Bunnelby stands tall. He digs his way, somehow against a Flying-type Lugia EX. He digs for damage, and it remains immune to any effects. We see a Thunderous EX come out now. Colress Machine goes on to the Kyurem. My opponent could have just used Frost Spear this turn, but it looks like he's favoring the Raiden Knuckle to power up Lugia EX, perhaps. Just kind of get all the threats ready. And then when he has an opportunity to do something, he's just going to attack. When I inevitably flip Tails for Dig. But we actually got a pretty strong hand there. We got a Silver Mirror, a Life Dew, Ultra Ball for a Ho-Oh. Also got a Hue, so this is actually pretty sweet. I am going to play the Verbank and the Laser. Seems like an easy choice. And then we'll Ultra Ball away the Ho-Oh and Life Dew, since Silver Mirror is actually better here. And we can recover the Life Dew with Pickup. So let's go ahead and Ultra Ball for Diggersby. Silver Mirror on to the Big Bunny, and Hue, my opponent's going to have to discard a card, and then I will draw 5. Could be worse. Hue coming in handy here. I'm not going to complain. He was invited to the party. And we'll have to see what card my opponent wants to discard with Hue. Of course, both players have to go to 5 cards when Hue is played. Looks like he discarded a Blend Energy. Way to go, Hue. And let's see, is there anything I need to get with an Ultra Ball here? I don't really think so. My opponent said, sorry, I literally forgot what Hue did. Not surprising. Hue is never seen in competitive play. I don't think I've ever seen someone play a Hue in a tournament. So we're going to go with the Pickup and grab a Hypnotoxic Laser and a Life Dew So my idea here is, I know my opponent has Tool Scrapper, probably 2 of them, and basically when my opponent plays them, I want him to get one tool or the other. He can get a Silver Mirror or Life Dew. I just don't want him to Scrapper both at once, since basically what's going to happen is he'll Scrapper, knock out the active Diggersby, and there's the first Tool Scrapper we see, and then my next one's going to come out with a Life Dew, and then we'll pick up the Silver Mirror again. And it'll just be this rotation of Diggersby, and he should never be able to take a prize. Well, actually, Lugia EX can take a prize from a Life Dude Diggersby, which is strange, but I don't think he'll be able to take enough prizes. Unless we see something like Pokemon Catcher or Escape Rope or Genesect EX, Red Signal. But otherwise, this strategy should be foolproof. Just need to avoid all of those things. Okay, so we see a Deoxys EX come out, and that's actually not a big deal since it's only going to Helix Force for 90. And that is a strange move by my opponent. He must have miscalculated, figured that Diggersby is so weak that it probably just knock him out. We got heads on the Hooligans, Jim and Cass. We're going to shuffle in 3 cards, and oh no! The only one I missed was the Chorus that he used Shadow Triad for. I had such good odds to get one of those cards, or to get that Chorus, but the one card that's left is indeed his Chorus. So he's going to have a fresh hand of a lot of cards next turn. That's a bummer. Hooligans, Jim, and Cass did take away some of those, but not quite good enough. Oh well. At least we got heads and made it exciting. Alright, so I put the Life Dew on the active Diggersby, and we're going to pick up for the Silver Mirror, and then probably just an Ultra Ball so I can get a Bunnelby out on the following turn. We need to keep this constant string of Bunnelby and Diggersby so that we can continue to use Pickup and disrupt my opponent. I'm actually surprised we lasted this long, but we got a couple dig flips in the beginning, and we got the Silver Mirror now, got the Life Dew. It's going to be a long, slow grind, but we can probably make a game of this. I'm not going to say we can win. It is Easter, though, so we might have a little bit of holiday magic on our side, but I don't know. This seems very difficult still. As Kyurem does come out, my opponent recognizes that, okay, I can pick off benched Pokemon, even though I can't really knock out the active, and that's going to be pretty annoying for me. Victini on the bench does only have 60 HP, so it's going to be 2 Frost Spears for a knockout. And Blissy's Soft Boiled only heals the active Pokemon, so I'm never really going to be able to heal off Victini. It's just pretty much a sacrifice, which I'm fine with since our digging days are probably over. We just have to pick up for the rest of the game. That should be all I have to do, and then only dig in strange circumstances. But Victini does get targeted down, and we have a Silver Mirror that I picked up last turn. Picked up, whatever. Yeah, I got it last turn. So we have the Silver Mirror. We are immune to attacks once again. So I am going to Ultra Ball for another Bunnelby and get that down. I don't have a laser this turn, which is pretty disappointing, but I'm just going to go ahead and pick up. We do have that Silver Mirror on the active, so it'll be protected probably. And I'm just going to take a laser and a Life Dew in case we do see a second Tool Scrapper and then a Blizzard Burn taking down Diggersby. I want to have a Life Dew to slow down my opponent taking prizes. That's basically the strategy. It's rotate between Life Dew and Silver Mirror and try to lock my opponent out of the game since he only has Team Plasma Pokemon. Pretty simple. Alright, so my opponent has quite a few cards after, looks like, I don't know if he played Chorus this turn, I didn't quite catch that, but there is the Frost Spear, 0 to the active, but it does finish off the Victini on the bench, and my opponent will collect his first prize, since Life Dew happened on the first knockout. So after all of this, my opponent still has only taken 1 prize, and we have a Silver Mirror Diggersby in the active position. I go with the Hypnotoxic Laser, got a Tails on the Crushing Hammer, and we're going to go for a pickup. First card is going to be an Ultra Ball, and then the second card will just take a Crushing Hammer since I already have a laser for next turn. And we got the heads, tails on the laser, so Kyurem stays asleep. That means my opponent will need to switch and get rid of the poison, or not the poison, the sleep, in order to attack. So things are looking up for the Easter deck. We're just kind of staying alive. Staying alive, that's all there is to it. Slowly chip away with some laser damage. Just hang in there with Silver Mirror and Life Dew, and hopefully our items will carry us to victory. And we see a switch, and Kyurem coming back active. These decks do play a lot of switching cards, so I'm going to have to go through a lot of lasers to actually get a knockout finally. But we do see a Frost Spear for 30 to the Bunnelby, and that's fine. We can Ultra Ball, get rid of Ho-Oh and Energy Switch, grab another Diggersby to prevent it from being knocked out by a Frost Spear. We do get a Hypnotoxic Laser. There's a Crushing Hammer, Tails. I can go ahead and play the laser. Again, I want to hold on to that Life Dew so we can do the rotation of Silver Mirror, Life Dew, Silver Mirror, Life Dew, until we wear our opponent down. Enhanced Hammer would be nice in this matchup, but it appears to be prized, so we won't have access to that, at least till I start taking some prizes, and by then it might be too late. Either I'll win or lose by that point. We do have another laser, putting the Kyurem to sleep once again, and we'll go for another pickup. Grab a laser, definitely, and then probably the Crushing Hammer again. We'll at least try for that every turn. Could slow my opponent down. And wow, another Tails on sleep. So we're getting Tails on the hammers, but we're getting lucky on the lasers. Cannot complain about that. I'll take the sleep any day over the Crushing Hammer heads. That's pretty sweet. That's going to wear my opponent down even more. And Diggersby is hanging in there. We haven't really attacked for much damage, but we have disrupted my opponent. We have annoyed him in the spirit of Easter, and we are picking up whatever we can to make sure we can survive and slowly do damage with Hypnotoxic Laser. Eventually, I may start using Dig, but for now it seems like pickup is the right way to go. Just recovering those crucial item cards, like lasers and hammers. We do see another Frost Spear this turn. And alright, I'm going to go for the laser, and we'll go for a Crushing Hammer. Got a heads. We're going to remove that blend from the Kyurem. Seems like a good plan. Stop it from using Frost Spear, and we can end my opponent down to 5 cards. Maybe he'll miss a Pokemon catcher or something like that. Or not a Pokemon. He'll miss an energy or a switch. That's what I'm thinking. Switch is actually the big one. If he doesn't switch out, then I can pick up for a knockout next turn with the poison damage and whatnot. So we'll go for another pickup. I could have used Dig there to get a knockout, actually. That may have been a little better. But again, we're just establishing a lock. We're getting our items back. We're honestly not even trying to attack that much. We're just trying to annoy with Diggersby. Alrighty then. What is going to happen next? I don't know. It depends on what my opponent draws. If he... Oop, there's a Frozen City. That's actually pretty annoying. That's going to make my lasers do less damage. And that means it's going to take even longer to get a knockout. And oh, there is a second Tool Scrapper. Alright, so we could see something like Lugia EX attack this turn. If my opponent has the correct cards, a Plasmagale gets 2 prizes, and then I may have trouble responding to that. I don't have the Life Dew in my hand anymore. And the Silver Mirror, of course, is in the discard pile. So this is going to be a crucial turn, I think. Will my opponent be able to pull something off? Will he have a switch or something like that? This could be big. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at the discard pile, see what we've gone through so far. I do have a couple Ho-Oh EX in there if I do need some energy in a pinch. And looks like we see a double colorless on the Kyurem, and then just a retreat into Thundurus for a Raiden Knuckle. Now I'm actually really happy with that, because my opponent basically wasted a Tool Scrapper without getting a knockout. And that's huge for me. That means I can just pick up the Silver Mirror again and go from there. We're going to go for a catcher. Got a Tails. It's unfortunate, but that's okay. I'm going to go for the Laser. Got a Heads. We'll Ultra Ball away 2 more energy. Just grab another Bunnelby. And then I could play Juniper here, but this deck runs so many bad supporters that I'm just going to play the Bianca instead. And we'll put down the Burbank City Gym, get our poison up to par again. Soft Boiled, heal 30 damage. And we can bench another Chansey as well. And I did not get the life due, but that's alright. We're going to get a turn to pick up another Silver Mirror, and that's the important thing. Get that back into my hand, and we'll grab another Hypnotoxic Laser again. And oh, no way! My opponent stayed asleep again? That's like the 3rd time that's happened. I'm getting super lucky on the Hypnotoxic Laser flips so far. I guess that's just the power of Bunnelby. He makes the lasers go heads and the sleep flips go tails for some reason. Not sure why Bunnelby would have any influence on that, but we'll just go with it. Alright, so I got a Super Rod. That's actually a pretty cool card to draw. We can start shuffling things back in. I'll shuffle in a Bunnelby, a Diggersby, and a Victini. Shuffle those in. And let's Soft Boiled. Got Tails. I don't really need to Ultra Ball for anything this turn. Got the Silver Mirror back on Diggersby. And so we can pick up 2 more item cards again. Now what do we go for? We already have a Laser, so we don't need to take that. Could take Super Rod back again. But I think I'm going to do a Catcher. We could catch out a Deoxys and try to stall it on the active spot. And then we'll take Crushing Hammer as well. Or, I don't know, this is weird. There's nothing I really need right now, but I might as well just take it so I can use it again. I think I'm going to play it safe. Just take a switch in case I do see like an escape rope or a Pokemon catcher from my opponent. Blissey could get stuck in the active spot or Chansey, so having a switch in my hand might not be a bad idea. So we'll just take a switch and play it safe. Otherwise, I would have just taken Crushing Hammer, since it seems to make the most sense. We do see Kyurem coming out and Frost Spearing for 0. Probably going to target down the Diggersby on the bench, which is fine with me. So there is the Frost Spear. Now that Diggersby on the bench is probably going to go down, but that's fine. Don't really mind that so much. Again, it's only going to give up 1 prize. We got our Silver Mirror locked in place. We got Diggersby going. We can get another Diggersby going. We're going to Soft Boiled again. Healing 30 off that Diggersby. And yeah, I think I'll just be content to pick up here, grab a Laser, and probably the Crushing Hammer. I really wish that was Enhanced Hammer. That would have made this game a lot different, discarding an energy every turn. But I guess I can't really complain. I'm going to grab Laser and Super Rod, actually. That makes more sense. Diggersby will be knocked out, so I might as well just shuffle it back in and get another Diggersby line back in the deck. As long as we can keep using pickup every turn, we should win from this point. With Silver Mirror, it's funny how one little item card can change an entire matchup. Silver Mirror is a direct counter to Team Plasma Pokemon, and when your opponent only plays Team Plasma Pokemon, just kind of works out. So we see a switch to get rid of the poison, and Kyurem is coming out for another Frost Spear. Suppose he's going to take down Diggersby on the bench. So he'll get down to 4 prizes, but that's still so many knockouts my opponent has to take. I'm going to Super Rod, shuffle in. Like I said, the Diggersby line will get a Bunnelby and a Diggersby, and then just a basic energy. I'll actually take the Fire, since Victini could potentially stored power eventually. And we're going to have to Laser to get the final 10 damage on the Kyurem to knock it out. And then we'll just pick up again. And we'll continue our assault of item-based offense, where we don't actually attack, we just use poison guns to slowly wear down our opponent. And somehow mirrors protect us from our opponent's Pokemon attacking. And yeah, we're not actually doing damage. We're just picking up items. It's basically a very long Easter egg hunt. And Diggersby is pretty much the best at an Easter egg hunt, being a bunny. So, yeah, that's my best explanation for this. Lugia EX comes out now after the Kyurem gets knocked out. Now, we could see a Genesect EX come out. That would be a real pain. Red Signal could certainly change this game quite a bit. Getting the Diggersby out of the active spot would be very annoying. My opponent could then start using Lugia EX to Plasma Gale, and that's just something I don't want to see. So, I don't know. This will be interesting if my opponent plays some way to get Diggersby out of the active spot. Also interesting if another Tool Scrapper comes into play. Otherwise, I think we've kind of got a lock going on here. We got the Diggersby lock. This is the most devastating lock in the game, the Diggersby lock, where we just pick up over and over and over and over. Alright, so we're going to go for some soft-boiled action. Now that Diggersby is at full HP, we can energy switch from Blissey onto Diggersby. I could just bench Victini as well in case I need to dig. That might not be the worst idea. I think Kyurem is pretty much gone, but no need to really risk it, I guess. And I could, let's see. I think I'm just going to go for a pickup. My other option is a dig, but pickup seems pretty good. Oh good, we have Cassius. We can shuffle in a Pokemon if we really need to. So let's go with the pickup for a laser and a crushing hammer. Continuing our picking up and reusing the same hypnotoxic laser about 20 times. That's pretty good. Alright, there's a laser we're going to go for. Heads. I think I've gotten heads on just about every hypnotoxic laser. I have a fire energy. We can put that on the bench Diggersby to prepare for another dig, or the active, or to prepare for another pickup, or the active to dig. And I think I'm going to go for a dig. We're going to hit for 50, just accelerate the process here. Put some pressure on. I have another laser in my hand. If my opponent retreats, I'll just laser and then pick up for 2 lasers. And we're going to be dishing out some decent damage the rest of the game. It's not overwhelmingly strong, but we have our opponent in a position where he cannot do anything. We see an Ultra Ball. We could see something like a non-plasma Pokemon here that would really throw a wrench in our plans, like a Mewtwo EX. We see that sometimes, but it looks like no. There's not another Scrapper. There's nothing else my opponent can do, and he says GG. And that means the Easter deck has taken another victory and another victim, as we somehow win 3 straight games with Bunnelby, Diggersby, Chansey, Blissey, Victini, and Ho-Oh, thanks to the almighty Hypnotoxic Laser and Silver Mirror. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, happy Easter. Hope you guys enjoy the holiday. I'll certainly have some more videos for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.